People ask me, well, how do you think you can bring about change? Because, you know, how are you going to get all the people behind you? Well, I point out that you don't need all the people, you just need enough. We've never had all the people behind us. One of my favorite stories is about George Washington. He's my favorite president. 1776 is the year we almost lost the country. The British and Hessians attacked Fort Washington and captured 2,400 of his men and all of their equipment and supplies. And they moved so rapidly on Fort Lee that Washington was forced to evacuate the fort and left everything behind. Tents, entrenching tools, everything. He had to divide his army in a desperate retreat to get to the Delaware River. It was in wintertime. These were men who'd lost uniforms, they'd lost munitions, and those paintings that we're all familiar with of Continental Army soldiers marching with bloody footprints in the snow, that's what those men were faced with. They finally get to the Delaware, cross the river to what they believed was safety. One of his generals wrote a letter to his wife saying that the Republic has never been in greater peril. Now here's Washington, who had an army of 20,000 men, down to an army maybe of 6,000 fit for duty. Now can you imagine what these guys were thinking when they got an order to gather on the banks of the Delaware River at midnight on Christmas, and that they were going to go back across the river and attack the Hessians in Trenton? They had to be thinking that they've lost friends in battle, they've lost friends to disease, they've had friends desert in the middle of the night. 2,100 of their comrades were sleeping in warm beds, and here they are standing on the frozen bank of the Delaware River in the middle of a snowstorm at midnight on Christmas. And this guy's asking them to follow him back across the river. The fate of the country, the future of the country was determined that night when those men got back in the boat. See, that's what we need today. We need people who are willing to get in the boat, to keep fighting for what they believe in. That's what will turn the country around. And I like to say that Washington could have gotten in the boat and gone across the river, but if those men hadn't got in there with him, it wouldn't have mattered. But they did, and they saved the country. If there's ever been a time in the history of the country when people needed to go out and get involved, it's now. Because there's not a leader anywhere in the country who can turn the country around by themselves. And we don't need all the people, we just need enough.